Start to let your breath expand very deep and full. Huge inhales. We're feeling our diaphragm flow for us. Nice exhales. Feel that little squeeze of the diaphragm, trying to get some of that last bit of air out. Deep inhales, feel it relaxed and full. Exhale, squeezing it out. And just continue these deep breath cycles like this while we take just a moment to connect with our intention for today. The idea today is imagining that we're like a fractal, where a fractal, if you zoom into a certain spot, you see a beautiful pattern, and then you zoom out to a certain amount, and the pattern looks exactly the same as when it was zoomed in. It's a beautiful symmetry that it has, and it's kind of awesome. And so think of yourself as a fractal for the world, or perhaps a hologram is another example that might work for your mind's eye. So think about, as we travel through all sorts of poses, all sorts of shapes, getting into the body today, imagine that every time you're affecting a part of your body, it's like that's a part of your fractal for yourself that you're healing. And in healing it for yourself, you zoom out of the fractal and you're also healing it for the world. Imagine how connected we actually all are. That's what yoga means. Yoga means union, connection. It's this deeper kind of connection than we realize at the surface level. And so in order to tune into that kind of yoga, that deeper connection, we help to heal our body. And in doing that, we help to heal the world. So with that idea to get us started today, take a moment, allowing the knees to come into the chest. We can rock around just a bit, left and right on the hips, helping to ease some of the tightness right out. Starting to connect with what is tight so we can have awareness of that as we continue to travel on. Beautiful inhales and exhales. And as that starts to feel really complete, allow the bottoms of the feet to touch together as the knees open out like a cobbler's pose on the ground. Once the legs are in that shape, we're going to allow the left arm to come up and reach toward the back wall. The arm is nice and straight. Once that's resting there, the right arm opens out to the right side. So it's like you're tracing a 90-degree angle. The right arm to the right, the left arm directly backward. And so from this arrangement, start to breathe into the side ribs on that left side. Start to feel how this area is opening up in a way that wasn't accessible for those initial breaths. Try to breathe as much space as you can into that area. And if you feel like you'd like to ease into that space even deeper, then take a moment to continue scooting your shoulders off that top right edge of the mat. We're scooting just a little bit off the mat, leaning in such a way that that left area, the left shoulder, the left side ribs are getting elongated even further, like a lateral stretch. So no matter where we eventually end up, continue to breathe into the tightness that might be present in those left ribs. We're helping to heal and enliven this part of our body. Take one more good inhale through this side. And use the exhale to help you start easing back onto the mat. Once you're right there in the middle, the center, start to switch the arms. So now the right arm is the one by our ear, extending to the back wall. The left arm is the one at the side, opening to the left. Already start to feel some of these muscles on that right shoulder and right ribs opening up. Breathe into the space. Imagine that the more space we could create in our body, the more healing capacity we've got. If you'd like to continue to scoot your shoulders off that left side, that could help to deepen the experience. So just play with that perfect amount. Notice how the more tense we are, the shorter the breath is. The more relaxed we are into it, the deeper and longer the breath is. One more huge inhale. Exhale as we start to release. We begin to return onto the middle of the mat. Once the spine is in the center, grab onto each elbow with each hand. We start off with these arms right in front of our chest, and then we're going to begin to trace some nice circles. So we start off arms circling up overhead, and then eventually pull the elbows over to the right side. There's no need to rush through this. So if you find a really tight spot in your shoulders, just pause for a moment. Don't feel any need to rush on, even if I'm continuing. But at some point, you will continue to circle down toward the belly button and then over to the other side. Feel free to pause when you get there, easing into anything that's tight right there. And then just the last cue, still no rushing, but the last cue. Once you finish the circle, you're going to take the next circle to the reverse direction. So going to left first and around, and each time you meet it up at the top, then you'll continue to reverse the direction each time. So depending on how slow you're going, you may just get one or two good slow circles in. Others of us might get quite a few rounds. So no rush at all. Just listen to your shoulders and to the ways that we can gently ease the shoulders gradually toward more and more space in that part of us that may be tight. Each of us are at different paces, but if you're going somewhat medium to somewhat fast, then we'll just take one more circle to each direction, helping to ease all around that shoulder joint. Again, we'll all finish at different rates. So whenever you finish, release the hands, plant the feet, and take a few windshield wipers while everybody else catches up. The knees going left, knees going right. Good. And from here, let the left leg come to stillness. The left foot can be planted or you can extend it long. It's your choice. The right leg is going to come into half happy baby. So we're trying to reach right hand for outside of right foot and then stack the foot above the knee. This could be a good place to stay. Basically, you have options here. So staying with stillness is great. Doing a little bit of rocking left and right could feel amazing on the hip. Or some of us may want to straighten the leg up toward the sky and then bend it right back down to the half happy baby. So explore through any amounts of movement or stillness that seem to be very helpful for our system here. No rushing at all, but just good, kind, steady breaths. The next time we come towards stillness, if there's movement, we start to release our hand from the foot. The hand slides to the knee, and we start to take just 3 cycles, rocking this knee open to the right, nice and wide, and then bring it to a partial twist toward the left. 2 more like that, going wide, and a partial twist. And then the third time it starts to cross over the body, let it stay in this twist. And listen to the fractal, listen to the world, or zoom in, listen to your body. To know how deep of a twist this should be, you could back out of it so the angle of the knee is tilting a lot higher. You could, some people might be at the spot where they want to go almost to the knee on the floor. So don't feel any need to necessarily take a specific shape, but listen to the body, listen to the fractal. What would be the most healing for the microcosm or the macrocosm? And then once you ease into the perfect shape, let the breath deepen. Now start to ease the right hip back down toward the ground. Once it's touching, this right leg gets one more chance to stretch, elongate the leg up to the sky. Hands are just gripping on in an easy, comfortable way. We're not here for too long, so do whatever feels best, whether you're pulling in for the hamstring or loosening up the ankle for a few moments. We've got about 3 more good, relaxing breaths to go. As that third exhale completes, let's release this right leg down toward the ground, taking on the same shape that the other did. Once we're there, left knee comes in, we start to head to the half happy baby. Grabbing onto the foot, bring the foot up above the knee. And then you've got those 3 options: stillness, rocking, or straightening and bending. One more beautiful breath flowing through our system. And then from here, the left hand slides to the left knee. We take the left knee wide for just a moment. And then cross it over the body, partial twist to the right. 2 more just like that. This third round, we stay in the twist. Remember to choose the angle that feels the highest and the kindest for the system. All systems. Breathing. The breath helps us to create more space where perhaps there was just tightness previously. Including everything, excluding nothing. Any sounds that are part of our environment right now, all of it is part of our meditation. It's a gift from the universe to help us find presence, to help us connect with other beautiful beings and objects and ways of living. One more deep inhale. And an exhale returns the left hip to the ground. We give this left leg a chance to stretch up. Remember, this can be about the hamstring or it can be about the ankle. So loosen up whatever appears to be tight and in need of attention here. Beautiful deep inhale. And with the exhale, as this leg starts to loosen, we're going to work our way up toward a seated place. So if you want to rock directly up, that's okay. Some of us may want to roll to a side and then press our way up. So whatever way of rising feels the best, let's make our way there. And from this spot, we take the bottoms of our feet together. The feet are a bit further today, more like a star pose. And then imagine your spine is gradually tilting and melting. It's not a quick process. It's like chocolate. If it's too quick, it breaks, it snaps. So instead, have this gradual heating up and melting forward. Easing our way comfortably through any tight spots today. Give the head permission to be heavy. If there's tightness that you feel in the neck and the shoulders, let's start to rock the head out, gradually tilting it to the left shoulder and the right shoulder. stillness feels better, that's always allowed. Finding the hands on the earth, we start to walk our hands toward the angle that the right thigh is extending out at, and start to ease their way toward that direction. And we notice the left part of the low back is getting extra attention, so try to breathe into that space. Take the slow journey back through the center, eventually towards second side. And then breathe into the right low back. Another active breath here. Then as we ease our way back forward, pause for another full 2 rounds of breath. Supporting our journey back up with the spine. Once we're up, leave the legs here, walk the hands back behind you. We stay straight from the hips up to the shoulders, and we walk our hands back to the point where we feel a gentle easing into the shoulder opener. We won't be here for too long, but try to feel the shoulders open for these couple of breaths. Wider hands is slightly easier, narrow hands is slightly deeper. And return the arms back in. From here, the hands can either go onto the knees and rest in that tall spine spot, or the hands can prop us up from kind of the sides and from the back. So whatever helps us to feel that nice support through the spine. We'll take a moment to rest, to start stretching through the neck, the throat area, and then the back of the neck. So first, we lift the chin up. This is not to crunch the bones together, but it's instead to get into this fleshy tissue, the thyroid on the front of the throat. So lifting the chin up, I also usually jump my jaw forward. And in doing that, there's almost no way not to get into that stretch. One more good breath here. Good, and then ease the chin back toward neutral and continue to drop the chin down so we can get into the back of the neck for a moment. If a new hand position helps you to feel the back of the neck easier, that's okay. But try to let the head be heavy. Maybe even clasping hands to weigh the head down even more. Not to actively pull, just to be a little bit more weight for gravity. One more beautiful inhale. And then exhale, the hands will drop. The head can float back up. One more thing here for our shoulder. This is imagining that we're tracing the sun traveling all the way across. And in doing that, we're going to get into the shoulder. So we'll start off with the right hand. It needs to kind of cross over toward that left knee. So you're already reaching at that low angle. And then very, very slowly trace the sun up. Let it reach as high as that shoulder is capable of. And continue to let your torso rotate so that the shoulder can trace as far back as it's capable of. Good. When you've traveled down from there, reverse that direction. A huge arc all the way up. And continuing to cross over the body toward the left. So take one more of those to each direction, all the way up. And around. And then ease its way back. Good. Once it's down, leave this right arm crossing over the body like this. Hook around it with the left arm to pull it in for a nice right shoulder stretch. Sometimes I'll even drop my head to the left side. That'll exaggerate the right shoulder stretch even more. Good inhale. And then exhale, relax. This right hand can just rest to the right. Start to cross the left arm toward the right knee. That's the starting spot. And then trace that arc like the sun traveling slowly all the way across the horizon. Goes up and then back as far into that shoulder area as you can get. And reverse it. One more cycle like that. Whenever this one finishes, the right arm hooks around to pull it in for the shoulder stretch. Maybe head tilts to the right this time. Another beautiful inhale. Exhale, release. Let's come onto our knees. And we're going to have a little bit of free form here. So we could take cat-cow. We could play with the ribs going left and right or other circular directions. We could also play with the hips, sinking the hips back and forward or circling them around. So find spaces in your fractal that need some attention and give it that time, that space, that breath. One more good cycle of breath in and out. And then from here, allowing the knees to go wide, we try to sit back onto the feet. We're going into a wrist stretch. So with the hands on the ground in front of us, start to rotate so that the thumbs go outward and the middle fingers end up trying to point as much inward as possible. A little hint, the closer the hands are, the easier this is for the wrists. The further you walk away, the deeper it becomes. So just choose that perfect spot for your wrists. And we're going to take some breaths here. So try to breathe into the opening. One more good inhale. And then exhale, ease the hands up. At first, it's helpful just to open and close a couple of times. At some point, rolling might feel good for the wrists, or even shaking them out can be nice too. Good. So when that spot starts to feel okay, we're going to tuck our hands down, so they're kind of flopping down, and then place the hands at the armpit area, kind of the side ribs. And then as you relax the shoulders down, this should ease into the wrist stretch to the other direction. Taking a few rounds of breath here. Just one more breath in. Exhale to ease out. Maybe open and close, circles or shakes. Good. Coming forward, leave your hands with fists just to keep the wrists in this good happy space that we just found. And then we're going to tuck the toes to start heading into a nice foot stretch. So from here, start to sink your hips backwards. It may be super intense for some people, so leaving your weight forward might be where you want to stay. If you want to continue to back up to the point where your weight is completely over your feet, that could be possible for you. Just choose the spot that feels okay. Imagine that this is the tightest spot of the fractal right now, so try to breathe space into that area. Feeling ourselves, feeling our world of any energy that might create plantar fasciitis. Any energy that affects the root chakra. Feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling whole. Let's try to ease if possible for 3 more breath cycles. For the third one, we're welcome to come forward, maybe roll the toes out, or gentle pounds could also be nice. When the feet are doing okay, let's lower down onto our bellies. We're taking Sphinx Pose, so elbows under shoulders. This could be active, where you're dragging your hands toward you, allowing the heart to get pulled forward. That may be nice to stretch the abdominal muscles. Conversely, you also have the option today to completely collapse into the skeleton, letting just the height of the shoulders hold you up. Head can drop down, the back can release. So you choose the quality that seems like it's most effective, most helpful for how your fractal is continuing to expand. You had collapse, come back to a little bit of structural support, and then the left hand will swivel in to help prop up our body. The right hand is now free to reach back and try to grab the right toes. Once you've got that grip, we're going to try to aim for a quadricep stretch. So if this is tight right here, just stay. If you can try to ease that right hip down, try to go for that spot. Maybe from there, the toes can get pulled in tighter. If you still need more after this point, perhaps the shoulders can rotate forward to get a nice shoulder opener as well. One more breath for this side. And then exhale, we release. Now it's right hand that props us up. And we grab the left toes. Listen to the knee to know how deep this side wants to go. If there's any knee pain at all, back right away out of it. One more inhale. And then exhale with arm release. Find the hands planting on the ground. This will help us press back into child pose and allow the knees to purposely be super wide for child pose here. Arms start to walk forward. Release the forehead down. And from this released, comfortable, relaxed space, we'll head into a shoulder opener. So thread the right arm under that space where the left armpit is. You could have the direct center of the forehead down, or you could rock onto the temple. So just choose that perfect spot for the shoulder opener and ease into a few more breaths here. Start to free out this right arm, and then take it to the second side. Then unwinding this arm, take 2 or 3 more breaths in Child's Pose. The hands walk in as we arise. The feet swing out in front of us. We'll set up our legs for a wide angle shape. Know that if it's difficult to maintain a tall posture with the legs straight, bent knees is perfectly fine as we start to travel forward. Otherwise, if straightening does allow you to get a deeper expression for your body, that is also fine. Just choose that spot that connects the spine, connects the hips, and then begin to work our way easing forward. Being conscious of our experience, perhaps there's a space where we can melt into just a little bit more, or perhaps we can play with straightening the low back to release just a bit deeper from a long angle. A beautiful inhale, relaxing exhale, and then start to rise back up. Good. From here, we're going to head back to our belly, but this time our head is toward the back of the mat. So we're heading onto our belly that direction. The elbows are wide and our hands can stack to help give the head something to rest onto. This will be a position for almost like a half frog for each leg. So know that when we head to one side, if you want to tilt your head to one direction and then switch on the second side, that's okay. Our left knee will start by sliding through the side, coming up kind of close to that left shoulder. This would be a side where perhaps the right part of the head is down and we're gazing off to that left side. Or you can keep the forehead down, personal preference. It's up to you how deep this knee is inched inward. Feel how the belly on the ground, breathing into that space, can be like a little massage for our intestines. One more inhale. Then with our exhale, slide this leg back down onto the mat. The right knee starts to slide up. If the head was tilted, switch the side that the head is resting also. That'll keep the neck in balance. So the tension of the shoulders relaxing. If you notice that your shoulders are holding tension, try to ask yourself, why am I doing that? How curious. And see if you can ease the journey out of that tension by breathing space into it. One more beautiful inhale. And then exhale, this leg goes back. We're heading toward our last little bit before Shavasana. Know that if your body has last movements it wants to take, that's fine. You have an option in Shavasana to lay in alligator pose, which is just where we are. Elbows wide, forehead resting down. The spine is in beautiful traction. You could also flip around to be laying on your back instead. If you flip, that could be a place where you can do any last movements until you're ready to just release in Shavasana. So no sense of rush, no hurry. Take your dear sweet time. Sooner or later, finding yourself in that supremely comfortable space. Imagine the edges of your fractal. Maybe they were sharp and jagged previously. Maybe they've smoothed out quite significantly through this time together. So imagine there's no end to how deep we can relax. Relaxation, imagine it like a deep cave. And at the end of the cave is this treasure where you discover yourself. But then you realize there's still more to the cave. And so you continue to adventure and discover even more. Just keep relaxing deeper and deeper with the flow of our breaths for the next few minutes in our Shavasana now. Begin to deepen inhales and exhales. Introducing little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually taking a beautiful fetal position off to one side. Give your body a few good breaths. Maybe 3, 4, 5 more breaths until you feel so present, so ready to rise up to a seated place. Bringing our hands together in front of the heart. We feel one hand representing our microfractal, and zooming out, the other hand is the macrofractal, the world. We travel through all that we experienced today to open our body, everywhere from head to toes. And we feel the world, its energy having lightened in that fractal way, exactly the same. And we realize that by taking care of ourselves, we are serving the world. By us feeling good, we are raising the frequency. And so, with us taking care of our little fractal and knowing that that will pave the way for the rest of the world to follow suit, with this idea to lead us on, let's wrap up the wonderful time we got to share together this day with the sound of Om. Taking a deep inhale together now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.